the most Tennessee Titans thing ever. Let's get into it. Sammy, start me up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Talking Titans.
Ladies and gentlemen, 94 yards. Touchdown, Titans! He is the baddest man in the NFL, and he just took her to the house.
The sickest Tennessee Titans podcast.
Sick!
It's gonna be sick.
Tennessee Titans fall to the Houston Texans 19-16. Will Levis gets banged up at the end. It was a nightmare come true for these Titans and their fans, us included. So, Jarett, I'll let you go on your tangent. I'm at a loss for words. My heart's still racing because Will Levis, hopefully he's all right, because if not for him, this whole thing is pointless. So, have at it, buddy.
There's no tangent. I mean, we saw the writing on the wall with this game, how it was starting to play out. First half looked really good. We were up 13-3, I think, at halftime, or 13-6, whatever it was. First drive, we got Treylon Burks. I called him out in the beginning of the game. 2 catches, 57 yards. All of a sudden, after that, he had like 1 catch after 4 yards. Like how we try to game plan to get our playmakers the ball, and then all of a sudden it just fades out. And like Derrick Henry, we were talking with AC before. Derrick Henry, he was getting the ball and 11 carries. He had, I think, -1 yard at one point in the game. Like, get Tajay Spears more involved, like he had last week. He had 19 touches for 118 total yards. Get in the screen game, get him out in open space behind the backfield. Let Will Levis think and dunk to go right down the field. So some things I didn't get, in the game plan in the second half. But man, our defense was really strong. Sack after sack again. D'Amico Autry is unbelievable. Same thing with Arden Key. Harold Landry, another big game for him. He had pressure in Keenum all game. So, like I said, it was the writing on the wall when they went down in overtime, and they got the ball. Even before that, let's talk about something really quick. Before that, right before the end of regulation, we got a punt return by Mason Kinsey. He was clearly out of bounds. How don't you, as the home team, get that call for a penalty for plus 15 yards to go right then and there and seal the game right there with a game-winning kick?
It's frustrating when the refs don't do their job, but I'm one of those people where I'm one of the last ones to blame the refs. You control your own fate. You let it get to that point. Granted, they have to do their job, but we let it get to that point. Should it have been 15 yards? Sure. Could it have made an impact? Sure. But we also are our own worst enemy. We can't protect the quarterback. We get complacent on offense with our play calling. It's just one step forward, 2 steps back with this team. And we joked about it. The most Titans thing ever would be to lose to this team, and we did. And it is frustrating when the refs miss calls, but guess what? At the end of the day, this was our game to win. I would like to say that we lost this game more than Houston won it. We had every opportunity to put them away. We didn't. We went down the field. The first drive of the game made it look easy. Looked like Burks was going to have a big game. And then it's just every first down we're running it. It's not working. We fail to change. It's just – listen, the rest of the year, I hate to say it, I wouldn't let this kid take another snap behind this offensive line. Get him all the help in the world in the offseason, in the draft. Put Tannehill in there. Let him get his ass beat and plan for the offseason, because this is not what the doctor ordered. This is frustrating. We're tired of it. And, I wish Sal was on here low-key to talk about Vrabel, because it all starts at the top, and it is frustrating when you feel like you have all this momentum, and then time in and time out, it's the second half. Where's the adjustments? You know what I mean? Where's I don't know, dude. I'm like flabbergasted. My heart's racing.
The thing with me is
because of Will Levis.
I think we avoided something major with Levis. He was on the sidelines afterwards. They showed him, so he was limping a little bit. who knows? Maybe it's a little sprain. Maybe just got dinged up and he got caught in the turf, whatever. Thank God. Hopefully it's nothing. If MRI proves that tomorrow. But if he is good to go, I'm going to be the total opposite of you and probably Sal, where I want Will Levis to start for the rest of the year, just so he has control of this team to see what we still have in him. I know he's the guy. I'm not sitting him at all. I don't care about anything because he needs to be more comfortable with the offense with Tim Kelly. Tim Kelly now, on the other hand, with the second half adjustments and the conservative play calling, all that shit has to stop because we have a kid who can throw absolute darts down the middle of the field. And why we went away from that and try to establish the run with the conservative play calling is ridiculous. Derrick Henry was not doing anything today, getting hit in the backfield almost every single time. Tajay Spears needed to get more involved in the second half, like we were just talking about. I don't understand how they try to scheme drive by drive in the game to see how everything's going. I don't know. You don't know. And everybody in the chat and everybody on Twitter has no idea what they do on a drive by drive basis, how they see things and how they scheme up things. We don't know. But from a fan's perspective, when we're sitting on a couch and we're couch GMs and we say, listen, this shit ain't working, let our young gunslinger throw the goddamn ball down the middle of the field because that's working. I hate when they want to establish the run on first and second down and make him throw it and we punt. I hate that stuff. So if something's working, just keep going. Go with it.
I mean, when it comes to Tim Kelly, too, it's a double-edged sword because you would like for him to get, on the same page with Will Levis into next year, but he's been extremely inconsistent the whole year, pretty, below average, in my opinion. So there's a part of me that wants to see what he can do with a full offseason with Levis and new personnel. But then there's a part of me that says, is anything going to change? And guess what? If we fire him, the reason why it's a double-edged sword is because, you get rid of him, but then Will Levis has to learn a whole new system. And we saw what we did with Marcus Mariota. God knows how many head coaches, how many offensive coordinators. You're learning a new language every year. You know what I mean? So listen, man, I don't know if there's any positives from this game other than it looks like Treylon Burks could potentially still have something left in him.
He showed me 2 catches. I need more than that. I need a lot more than that.
I'm as dejected as I've been after a loss in a long time.
Yeah, but I mean, what are you going to do? We lost the game. We're officially out of the playoff race now. Oh, big whoop. Now you start looking. Now we can start actually having conversations of the offseason. Okay, now we can teeter on the offseason look. And everyone's saying on here, Tim Kelly fired Tim Kelly, all this other stuff. Arthur Smith took a year of beating his first year as offensive coordinator. We all wanted his head. Look what he did for us going forward. Okay, Tim Kelly was Deshaun Watson's offensive coordinator when he was in Houston. He did wonders with him. Look up those stats when he led the league in passing, yardage, and everything like that. It's Tim Kelly and Will Levis' 6th game together, right?
Something like that.
6 games together.
Yeah.
I'm not taking anything away from that. Since Will Levis, the last 2 games he's played, we've been averaging 28 points per game and averaging 392 yards total offense. So you can't go by this. It was a stingy division loss. Division people play very well against each other. So I'm not taking anything away from Tim Kelly just yet. I mean, it may have looked bad, but this offensive line is really bad too. Let's not take that away.
Oh, it's awful. It might be
swinging. Yeah, Jalen Duncan may not be that great this year. He could be a swing tackle in the future, like we've been saying, but he is not a starter. Aaron Brewer is not a starter. Whoever we have over there at right tackle right now, he ain't a starter. Yeah,
maybe Skoronski, maybe Brunskill.
That's it.
Skoronski, I would say, is a starter, which, by the way, he got banged up. We might have 2 starters on this line as is. But I'll tell you what, forget this wide receiver shit in the offseason in the draft. In the draft, I would go get the best offensive lineman available, maybe try and get Ayuk or T. Higgins in free agency. But we need to draft every lineman there is to protect this kid. Because if we ruin him, then, we're going to be in the dog days of this franchise again. So I don't know. I'm frustrated. It's annoying too to lose at home in these jerseys in front of a crowd that showed up today. I mean, listen. Another reason why it's frustrating because you win this game, you're 6-8. The Steelers lost. Who else lost?
Jets, Giants, everybody lost.
Yeah,
We didn't lose position in the draft.
We could have maybe, listen, I don't want to get ahead of myself and say we could have made the playoffs, but it was possible if we had won today. But I don't know. If Will Levis, Jarett, I'm telling you right now, if it's anything that is somewhat, can hobble him, 3 games left, forget it. We know he's got the ability to be the franchise.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking about if he's good to go. If he's got a lingering injury,
then sure. But if there's a sprain or a tear or a bruise, let him sit, and let Tannehill, which, by the way, I don't want to waste my breath on that idiot, dancing up and down on the sideline, smiling when Levis gets hurt.
Let's not take clips, a 3-second clip off the TV as like something. He got a pound from somebody, probably said, let's go win this game. He probably smiled, gave a nod, the camera caught it, and everyone's going to have their opinion on it. Oh, look at this asshole smiling that Levis got hurt. He's back in it. Or he's saying, hey, I'm going to go win this game now. I mean, you can look at it both ways.
I don't know what your loyalty is to this kid.
It's not loyalty at all. I'm just like Teron Davenport told you guys last time, you can't take a 3-second clip. He could have been saying something else. Someone could have had a conversation with him before that. Like, that's the way of the world right now. Everybody takes a little clip and they make it a huge thing. So I'm not saying I back Tannehill. Levis is my quarterback. I want Levis to start for the rest of the year, but we can't do that.
I don't even really know what else to say, man. I'm like at a loss for words with this team, this franchise. I look like a hot mess right now. My hair's a mess.
You look good. That was probably you pulling your hair, during overtime and regular.
Beard looking all wild and shit. I'm not even kidding, dude. My heart was racing when Levis went down and I saw them playing with his Achilles. My heart sank.
They said, I was doing something like that too. But when they said we're not going to show the replay, I'm sitting there. I'm like, what the hell could possibly have happened? His knee get caught,
like at first,
his ankle,
came like down on his shoulder or his
that's what
arm.
I thought because his arm was backwards.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and he needed to play better today too. The line didn't give him much protection, but that interception you can't throw across your body.
No,
the throw to Hopkins could have been caught. But it could have been a little more in front of him, in my opinion. I don't know, dude. It's just hopefully he's okay, and we'll see what the diagnosis is, and then we take it from there because the season's lost. I'd rather pick top 6 or 7 than 10th or 11th.
Well, right now you're in the 7 to 9 range right now, which is how bad the NFL is right now. You're gonna have 5 losses. You're gonna be that far back in the draft.
And there's a chance we could lose out. We play Seattle next week, Houston and Jacksonville again. This time Houston in Houston. So we'll see. I don't know. Listen, I would pack it in, let this kid get well rested for next year, get as high of a pick as possible, do right in the offseason, do right in the draft, and see, see what he really has when you surround him with protection and talent.
No, I hear you. I want to touch on one thing too before we start wrapping up with the game here. There was a release a couple days ago of a huge key player who I thought was going to have a huge year for us, and who was a really good run stopper for us in Tierra Tart. Was it a surprise to you that we cut him? And do you think there's more to this story as it's going to come out?
Listen, it's more the same. Where he asked for his release, tweeted something.
Yeah, he said that he asked for a release, but Paul Kaharski retweeted saying that's not what he heard. So
listen, I don't know. It's more the same. There's got to be some truth to the fact that these players keep talking about, whether they want to get released or after they get released, talking poorly of, the franchise. It's got to make you wonder. I was surprised. He's a solid talent. Supposedly it was contract related. They couldn't move him at the deadline. There was no suitors. Seems like they don't want to re-sign him in the offseason. But he's a solid run stuffer. He's above average in that regard. He's good at what he does. I'm partial to him too because he's a Philly guy. I think West Philly's high. But yeah, I was surprised because he's one of our better interior linemen when it comes to stopping the run. And he was playing well. So yeah, it was a big surprise. Who knows? Maybe they're just chopping the fat off though, getting ready for the offseason. But I'm starting to think there could be something to, a little bit of divide and dissension in the locker room.
That's what I'm trying to say with not even the Mike Vrabel situation. I was talking about when Jeffrey Simmons, when we lost to Pittsburgh, I believe it was, when Jeffrey Simmons got interviewed by Teron Davenport and Kayla and Jim in the locker room. He said that we have to basically trim the fat. We got to weed the snakes out. We got to see who wants to play here. Guys aren't doing their part, and the comments are flooding right now on YouTube that's saying Tart quit on this team. He very well could possibly quit on this team because he has contract negotiations coming up. And I read that Paul Kaharski article, and Kaharski said that there was beef in the beginning of the season where the defensive line coach was asked a question, how's Tart's development going on, and he goes, I'm not going to discuss Tier right now. If you want to talk about Tier, you got to talk to Vrabel. So I mean, there was a lot of stuff behind the scenes. That's why I said now that he's off the team and they're going to maybe start doing articles. Everybody watch out for those articles if you're interested into that Tier Tart release. But another thing, Christian Fulton goes on IR. He kind of looked surprised too as well. That's another guy who is weeding the snakes out, who's been beat in recent weeks and all season long. He can't stay on the field with the hamstring. He got hurt again. So I think they probably just said, enough is enough with him. We don't want to deal with him. Put him on IR. And I think we've seen the last of him too.
I'm not even wasting my breath on him. He's done. Looked good at times. Thought he was a steal when we got him. Sad to say that draft was so bad. If you look back at it, that he was still probably the best pick in that draft. But I'm not wasting my breath on him anymore. If we want to take some positives out of this game, the red zone defense did look good. There's still the strength of this team, which is sad to say because they've looked so bad at times. McCreary looked pretty decent in this game. Hopefully he's one of the guys in the secondary who's here to stay. But other than that, I think everyone's expendable in the secondary besides him and Amani Hooker. I mean, I won't be surprised if it's a whole new secondary next year, aside from him and aside from Amani Hooker. But listen, man, it's just frustrating. It's more the same. It's, I sound redundant, but we're tired of it. We're tired of it. And when is it going to change? That's kind of why I just want to get to the offseason to see what happens, with the staff, to see what happens in free agency, the draft, see what happens with Vrabel.
Like I said, everyone's going to have their opinion on it. We don't like the taste of losing. We were the 1 seed a couple of years ago. We made a deep run in the playoffs. We're a game away from the Super Bowl. Now with the John Robinson stuff out, Rand's going to come in, I believe, okay, with that money and with that roster he's going to build and the draft picks that we're going to have in the top 10 here. I think we're going to build and we're going to weed some of that John Robinson's, those problem players out, and we're going to build hopefully a championship team like they did in San Francisco.
Yeah, maybe that's what they're getting a head start on it now with Monty Rice being gone, with Fulton going on the IR, with Tart being gone. So if you want to spin it into a positive, maybe they're just getting a head start on the offseason, with these moves, trimming the fat, for lack of a better term. But, I don't have much more to say. Let's put up some comments and get out of here. I tend to agree. I tend to agree, Dom. Henry hasn't looked the same the last few weeks. It'll be sad to see him go, but I also think it'd be foolish to commit to him for $7 to $10 million a year for the next couple years. It is what it is. We need to change our identity as a franchise if we want to take the next step.
So now, because I don't want to agree with you guys. So I'm going to say,
we'll read out his comment first. Fans won't want to hear this, but Henry cannot come back next season. The stubborn reliance on handing him the ball is the core issue with this offense, and Spears/Levis are both suffering as a result. And like I said, I tend to agree. He hasn't looked the same. He's not a vocal guy, so it's hard to really tell his level of frustration. But his play on the field the last few weeks if it's told us anything, it's that he's lost a step. And maybe it's the line too, because he's getting hit behind the line of scrimmage. But
50% of his snaps.
That being said, I don't think he comes back next year.
So like I said, I'm not going to agree with you. I'm gonna go the other way and say, yeah, we will bring him back. Maybe 2 years. 2 years, whatever. $100 million. 2 years, maybe $15 million, $16 million, whatever it is, right? But he's not the featured back. it moves to Spears now. And Derrick Henry could be the short yardage guy, and he could be the goal line back now, because I think his loyalty still stays in Tennessee. And I think with 1,000 yards, he needs to be the all-time leader. I think they do try to bring him back.
But you're not going to pay someone who's not going to be your
they're not going to pay a top
$7 million.
Yeah, but that's the going rate for these running backs right now. Not the top running backs, because that Tajay Spears is the prototypical running back right now on the teams. Pacheco, you see Singletary. You don't see that bell horse generational running back like Derrick Henry no more. But I think they do bring him back, but he's not going to be the starter per se, because I think this needs to be a fast-paced tempo offense like Will Levis thrives in.
Time will tell. Let's throw another comment up there. Law is incredible. This is reminiscent of Mike Mularkey being too loyal to the coordinators. Miss Amy may give Vrabel an ultimatum at the end of the season. Tim Kelly is not it at ROC. I agree with you, Laz. I said this earlier. I think it's going to be an ultimatum where they want him to stay, and they're happy to have him if he's okay with the moves that they make. It's another thing we're going to have to wait and see on, though. But I tend to agree.
No, I understand what you're saying, Tom, and that's why I'm going vice versa on it. So I can see it either way, but with the Tim Kelly, man, the Tim Kelly situation, you're gonna give him how many games we're at right now with him?
Tim Kelly,
5-9, 13 games, 14 games. Yeah, you're gonna give him a 14 game sample size, but you're gonna let Todd Downing. You want Todd Downing for 2 years? Arthur Smith, guys, look up the stats. Arthur Smith was dog shit. It was so bad the first year with him. The second year, and guys coming into the system, it was good. And it got better and better and better. Todd Downing now, I can all agree with you on Todd Downing. Todd Downing was crap to begin with. He was crap in Oakland and right where he was in Tennessee as well. Tim Kelly has a resume where he led an offense to number one scoring offense in the NFL with DeAndre Hopkins. Look up those
Watson
stats.
In his prime. He had Hopkins.
You have Levis. You have Levis. You can go get a top tier wide receiver in the free agency or the draft now, and you have to build with that. I'm not going off 14 games next year. If it goes on, then I'll say it. But 14 games is not. And today the offensive game plan was terrible. I'm going to give you that, but I'm not moving on from that guy. Okay.
I respect your patience, Jarett. Let's throw
because just to say like, oh, let's do away with him. Now you're going back to the Mariota era. Okay, now you have Tim Kelly with Will Levis. Now you're going to put another coordinator in here. That's us fans to say, no, we want more. We want better. We want better. I want better. Let's build around this kid now. Build around, because I don't want an offensive coordinator every 3 years in the quarterback, and then we have to go get another quarterback because we shit on him just like we did with Jake Locker and Marcus Mariota. So.
I hear you. You bring up a good point. I hear you. He could produce when he has the talent.
Tim Kelly was the OC in Houston when he led the league in yards.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens there as well. Like I said, a lot of unknowns. We can argue till we're blue in the face, but that's why I'm somewhat, anxious to just get this season done with 8 being healthy.
Yep.
And 98 being healthy. He's another guy I wouldn't bring back this year. If we, I just don't see any reason why we should. Whatever. One more comment, and then let's get out of here. The Titans are not passing on Marvin. Well, honestly, the Titans are not passing on Marvin Harrison Jr. for a left tackle. We're going to have to be picking third to do that, and I just don't see it. Arizona.
We're going to have to be picking first.
Yeah, I think the Bears might take him and keep Fields. He's looked decent the last couple weeks. You never know. The Bears did lose today, though. So actually, no, they have the Panthers pick. So we're both 5-8 with them. Yeah, whoever they have the Panthers. Wait, what am I saying here? So the Panthers are the first pick.
Yeah, but the Bears do.
Okay. That's right. That's right. Brain fart.
So it's the Bears, Patriots, and Cardinals right now.
Yeah. I think it's a pipe dream. I don't see it happening. And after today's performance, the offensive line, I'm starting to lean best offensive lineman available. Go get T. Higgins. Go get Ayuk. Make a move in free agency for a receiver. But if you want this kid to succeed, they
got to do what they did with Tua and Jalen Hurts. And
listen, if they took Marvin Harrison Jr., I wouldn't be mad. I just don't see it being a possibility with where we're probably going to end up drafting, because he could be the first pick, will not fall further than 3. with that being said, though, we need to protect this kid. I wouldn't be mad if they get Marvin Harrison Jr., but one, I don't see us picking that high to get him, and two, you got to protect this kid.
No, I completely agree. Like I said, I'm not going to make any predictions going into the draft right now because I want to see what they do in the first and second wave of free agency, because that's going to give you a little telltale sign of where they're going to go, where they're leaning towards. Because they go heavy with the $100 million on the line, a playmaker's going to be coming in that draft, whether it be Brock Bowers, Neighbors, or somebody else in that first 7 to 8 picks. So I'm good with that.
Yeah, yep. And I'm good with this show. Okay,
you go with it?
I'm good with it for now.
Hopefully, we get a little positive now going into the Seattle.
Just the only positive we'll see what Sal has. Is okay. That's the only positive.
We're praying for good results on an MRI.
Hopefully, when we do our next show, we have, the fact that he's okay, be able to talk about him a little bit and his health going forward. But until then, say your prayers. Hope 8 is all right. And,
Sandy, send us out. Stole it.
Good for you.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Talking Titans on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.